Okay, be honest. Have you ever been given way too much content by a client and thought, okay, cool. Where exactly am I supposed to fit all this? Or even worse, you're designing something for Instagram and they hit you with, hey, can you make this a billboard too? Like, ma'am, excuse me? Do you not see the difference in scale here? But that is exactly what we're talking about today. How to design across different mediums without losing your mind over the layout. So whether you're working on a social post, product package, or a billboard, I'm going to help you figure out what goes where. How much is too much? And how to deal with clients who send you their entire life story in a Google Doc. Because we've all been there, man. All right. Before you even open up Photoshop, Illustrator, or even Canva, whatever your weapon of choice is, you got to ask yourself one very important question. What is the goal here? If it's social media, the goal is to stop the scroll. You've got 1 second these days, literally 1 second. People flick their thumbs like Olympic athletes. You have to grab their attention immediately. Whereas if it's a billboard, then your viewer is in a car. They're probably half distracted with their GPS. With billboards, you have at least 3 seconds to grab their attention. So that means bold visuals and minimal text. Big impact. And if it's packaging, that's a total different experience. People could actually physically hold it. They probably turn it around, get kind of curious, you know? So that's where we could play with layers of information. The front could be the main message, and then the sides could have details. And typically the back of the package, that's where you do the deep dive. Every medium has its own attention span, and the shorter the attention span, the simpler in terms of copy your design needs to be. So if you ever feel kind of stuck, go back to the purpose. It's not about what do I want to show. It's about what does this need to do. Okay, so here's my golden rule. The smaller the space, the simpler the message. The bigger the space, stronger focus. If you try to make everything fit everywhere, then you end up with a design that just feels like a visual buffet, and not in a good way. So for social media, you need one clear message, one call to action, one main image. And for billboards, I would say keep it roughly 6 to 8 words. I think that tends to be your really sweet spot for billboards. And for packaging, think of telling the story in chapters. Front, side, and back. And how do I deal with this with clients? This is my secret weapon. I actually set word count limits. I know, it sounds really corporate, but let me tell you, it actually works. I will literally say to my clients, okay, for this specific design, we're aiming for 10 to 15 words max. And because the words have weight, every extra sentence, it eats up the breathing room. So here's my quick benchmarks. For Instagram, if you're being generous, aim for 10 to 15 words max. For billboards, it's usually like 6 to 8 words. For packaging, the headline could be 5 to 7 words. The support copy, it could be maybe 20 to 30. And all the details, just stick them on the back. I always try and remind the clients, we could fit a lot visually, but we can't fit a whole blog post. And honestly, the funny thing is, with most clients, the moment that you say word count, they instantly will start editing it themselves. It's like, oh, okay, maybe this paragraph doesn't need to exist. It is honestly the most polite way to make everyone a minimalist. Okay, let's talk about our main man, hierarchy. Your new best friend when layouts start getting chaotic. Think of hierarchy like a conversation. Someone has to speak first, right? You can't just have everyone yelling at the same volume. So pick your hero element. That is either your main visual or your headline. And that is going to be the loudest voice in the room. And then after that, go with your secondary info, like your supporting line or your tagline. And then finally, tertiary, those little details like a URL maybe, or contact info or disclaimers. I like to test my hierarchy with the blur test. When you're actually designing, just blur your whole document just slightly. And that is how you could easily tell where your eye will go first. And if it's your main element, then you've nailed it. Obviously, don't send the blurred version to the client though. And if everything blends together, maybe go back to the drawing board, my friend. Hierarchy makes chaos look intentional. Yes, the classic, the client sends too much info scenario. We all have that one client who says that everything is important. And then you're like, okay, but if everything's important, then nothing is going to stand out. Here is how to handle it without stepping on any toes. Step 1, communicate early. Don't wait until you're halfway done to realize that you're building like a Where's Waldo poster. You could say something like, that's great info, but at this size, I could only fit maybe like 40 words or whatever it is. Which part would you like to highlight? And for most clients, at least the sane ones, this works. I put the decision back in their hands. And honestly, most clients really appreciate that. They like to feel like they're part of the process. Step number 2, show, don't tell. If a client gives me something and I already know it won't work, then I will just anyways create a mock-up. That way they could see how it won't work. And I'll say something like, which one seems easier to read? And 9 times out of 10, they will pick the simpler version. Step number 3, offer content tiers. I will say something like, here's what fits beautifully in this design. The rest of it, maybe we could use it on the website or a banner, or maybe even supporting visuals. So you're not outright rejecting the content, you are redirecting it, putting it in a place where it will actually shine. You're not mean. You're a designer, a strategic one. Okay, so let's do a quick recap because I know I threw a lot of information at you. Start with a purpose. What is your design supposed to achieve? Remember clarity over clutter. And remember, clarity over clutter. It is better to say one thing well than 10 things poorly. Use hierarchy to guide the eye and communicate word count limits early. It saves everyone's sanity. And if the client insists on giving you too much, show them visually. At the end of the day, design isn't about cramming information. It is about communicating it clearly and beautifully. So the next time that a client asks you, can you just make it fit? Say, sure, but will it fit right? And most of them will respect you for that, trust me. If you found this helpful, drop your best client horror story in the comments, or maybe even your go-to trick for keeping the layout clean. And if you're new here, hi, welcome. I am Candice. I make videos that actually help you enjoy being a designer because it's not just about making things look pretty. It's about making things work. Okay, guys, I'll see you in the next one and make sure that everything in that text box fits right. Bye-bye.